A design approach that's very instrumental to Kayenta homes is a technique referred to as cross-light. I asked Terry to tell us about cross-light and how it plays into the design process.
My idea for cross-light, at any rate, is the idea of always having that opportunity anywhere in your house, anywhere that you're in the house, to look in different directions and have that transparency of being able to see out of the building. So at an entrance point, for example, you may come in, you may first see the north view of the Red Mountain. You may look to the right and you would see the Red Mountain again and some of the alluvials that drift off towards Ivans. You look to the west and you get another view. But at that point, you are totally aware of the environment, not only inside the house, but how it relates to the environment outside of the house.
So we're essentially in the center, almost, of this home, yet we can see dynamically outside and through the home itself.
Leela, this is a really good example of cross-light. So by having many different windows in a lot of different directions of the house, you're creating that cross-light, which makes the house really bright and light, and it brings the outdoors in, which is, I think, a really important aspect of living here in Kayenta.
I'd heard Terry express that you can use windows to create art by framing views in unique ways. So I asked him to tell us a little about his thoughts in this regard. Framing
a view is way, way more powerful than taking a view that's unframed. It's like framing a beautiful piece of art. Oftentimes people feel that bigger windows with wider views is better, and sometimes it is. But there's often times when you can take and utilize a window just in the right place to frame a view of some piece of our exterior view, some piece of the mountain with a tree, possibly, and a little bit of sky, that makes it as good as any painting you'll ever see.
Now, before we leave the subject of cross-light entirely, just one more question came to mind. Terry often describes homes as kinetic sculptures. I wanted him to tell you a little more about this idea and how it relates to cross-light.
You always want to use cross-light or views in multiple directions to maximize how your house works as a kinetic sculpture. Architecture is kinetic sculpture, and the element that is moving, the element that is kinetic, is obviously not the home. The element that is kinetic is the person who is moving through the home. And every room, every part of that house is slightly different by the way you walk through it, by the way you participate in the light. And there's another element to it as well, and that's the light moving on the house. So in the morning, the light is different, the cross light is different, the kinetic sculpture is different than it is in the afternoon or late evening.
Gary and I just sat at our table in Salt Lake in the kitchen, and he started drawing circles, and I said, yeah, I want the kitchen round, and I want it in the center of the house, because that's where everybody gathers anyway. So we just started at the center and built out, and we wanted the bedroom, our bedroom, more private, so that's on one end of the house, and office and guest room are on the other end of the house. So we designed it so we had our privacy, but we also had room for guests, and that's why we did the guest house as well.
One of the things to get a real efficient house is to design the house ergonomically to fit you and how you're going to live in that house. There's sometimes not a lot of need for extra space in terms of task-oriented spaces like a laundry room. Design it to fit how you're going to actually use that room. Master bedroom. Design that to how you think you'll use that room, not how somebody else thinks you'll use that room. One of the things we're doing more and more today is the great room concept, where your kitchen and your dining room and the major living space, your living room in the house, are all kind of combined and open into one large space. And that doesn't mean that it's just one big giant room, but we can make those rooms feel like their own spaces without a lot of divisions and walls. And by doing that, you get this great transparency through the house, and you can see the landscape, you can see outside the house, you get a lot of natural light in the house. And I think that is one of the things that really makes the houses at Kayenta.
In Kayenta, there's a real marriage between the exterior design of a home and its interior space. But I wanted Matt to tell us a little more about the interior design elements he takes into account.
To only talk about design in terms of architecture or interior design, I think you're missing the whole point. I think you really want to have the marriage of those two things because, for instance, the ceiling heights in this home directly reflect the roof heights and the parapets of this home. So they're not really a separate thing. So what we're doing from an exterior design standpoint, we're also bringing the interior volumes and spaces into that.
Consideration.
Absolutely.
And you made some choices where maybe there wouldn't have been a window. We have got this incredible vista out here. You made it it's a panorama. And had that not been there, maybe you would have from the interior said, well, let's cut that out. But you made it part of the kitchen is this panoramic view.
Exactly. Taking advantage of the views here, people come here for the views, so we don't want to,
rip them off.
Yeah, sacrifice.
We don't want to
sacrifice some of the better features of the lot.
In terms of interior finishes for your house, there's sort of two parts to that. There's the interior architectural finishes, and then there's the interior design elements, which would be your furniture and accessories. I like to look at the house as a whole in terms of an entire complete design. And color and texture in your architectural finishes, such as tile, paint color, carpeting, wood floor if you have wood floor, countertop materials. And one of the things that I like to do when we're looking at the overall scheme of the house is how do we bring the outdoor color in? How do we balance the vibrant colors we have in the desert with the interior finishes?
With this house, as well as in a lot of the Kayenta homes, we try to create a real open concept, a real open feel to the home, where we bring the outdoors inside. And the colors that we used for this house, I think, really do a great job of that. We used some soft green colors in sort of an updated palette of desert colors, some terracotta, reds, oranges, olive green.
It's very warm.
It does, and this is a rather contemporary interior, but I think by using those warm earth tones, you can really, make it a very livable, nice warm interior to be inside.
I'm ready to move in.
Okay.
One of the great things about Kayenta is the ability to maximize indoor-outdoor living. Talk about indoor-outdoor living. I mean, explain what is going on out here. This is like a room.
This is sort of like the outdoor living room.
It is.
I think every home in Kayenta needs some level of really comfortable, protected outdoor space, so that you can really have that living indoor-outdoor feeling.
And sun is such an element here when you want to be outdoor, that you want those projections to offer the shade where it's needed. This is almost a perfect situation where we're bringing light through, but we're sitting in a shaded area. And if we were out in the sun, we'd probably be pretty uncomfortable.
Oh, amazing.
Someone pointed out that if you carefully put living space, outdoor living space, on three sides of your home, you can have outdoor living space in Kayenta year-round. And that was very important to us. We like being outdoors. We like to sit outdoors. We like to read outdoors. We like to just hang out outdoors, entertain outdoors. And, the patio that is intensely hot in the middle of July is wonderfully comfortable in January.
One of the beautiful characteristics of Kayenta is that you can actually see the night sky in all of its splendor. So I asked Matt how Kayenta's philosophy about lighting design makes that possible.
Well, that's part of the Kayenta design and development philosophy, with maintaining a dark night sky so that we can enjoy the beautiful stars.
The feeling is actually like camping. It's like we're out.
It is a little bit. We're a rural setting, and we kind of want to maintain that.
It's amazing. And what does that mean to the residents and to their...
In terms of what lighting they can have in their homes?
Yeah.
Well, we like to keep low levels of lighting. So how we achieve that from an exterior standpoint in terms of landscape lighting is we just don't want a lot of light shining up into the sky. That's where you get the lighting pollution. So there's a lot of fixtures that have tops on them, so it doesn't allow the light to go up. So it's really not that difficult to achieve really nice exterior lighting.
There are some restrictions in terms of lighting, your interior lighting and your exterior lighting here at Kayenta. You can find more information about that in your CC&Rs. But in general, we're looking for low levels of lighting. No point sources of lighting that can be visible from your neighbors or outside. Those can become very bright and sort of annoying in a desert environment that doesn't have a lot of really bright exterior lighting. So having very subtle light it brings a nice ambiance into your living environment.
In this section, we learned that cross-light is a design approach used at Kayenta that seeks to create light and views from multiple directions wherever possible in a home in order to provide transparency and to allow for an awareness of the outside environment as it relates to the interior environment. In addition, we heard that by carefully framing views, we can turn the features of the exterior landscape into natural art for our homes. We also discussed how cross-light in multiple directions helps the architecture of the home to become like a kinetic sculpture as you move through your home and participate in the various angles and aspects of light brought in from outside at various times throughout the day. Staying open to the many design possibilities here in Kayenta is another key point from our discussion. Instead of limiting the possibilities with preconceived notions or prepackaged plans, the invitation is to explore various aspects of views, room flow, and the variety of innovative solutions that you'll find as you work with your designer in creating your home here in Kayenta. Using an ergonomic approach is helpful in this regard and will lead to designing rooms for how you actually use them. Features like the Great Room concept, which creates openness and practical usage while still providing for a sense of separate space, is just one of the many opportunities you can consider. Other aspects of designing the inside of one's home include the interior architectural finishes and interior design elements. Looking at these two design components as one whole design is helpful. Utilizing the appropriate color palette and textures helps bring the vivid outdoor colors in to blend with the interior in a way that is pleasing to the eye and suits your style. In terms of interior space, there are some restrictions on lighting. One should seek to work with low levels of general light to prevent bright point sources of light from interfering with your neighbor's experience. By properly using task light, which is brighter, closer, more focused light, and ambient light, which is lower level, more general light like recessed lighting, bounce light, or indirect light, one can accomplish a pleasing and functional balance.
Well, I've had a great time here in Kayenta, and I've learned a lot. I know I'll be back. Hope to see you here.